Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's community call. Very excited to have everyone here. Let's see. I think there are already 1,000 listeners on Twitter. So to tell you guys more about the agenda of today's community call, it's going to be about the BEP-520 and BEP-524, which is the Pascal hard fork as well. So this will be a roundtable discussion between ecosystem builders who are here on this call right now, and also an introduction to BEP-520 and 524. So and after that, we will be also answering community questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the Twitter below the live stream of the on YouTube or Twitter, or any of the promotional posts that we had before this space as well. So I'll be keeping an eye on all the questions. So if you have any questions or feedback, please just do drop it in the comments. Yeah. I think we have another speaker who just joined. So without further ado, let me just introduce the guests. So firstly, myself, I'm Saba, your host for today. And here I have Kay from BNB Chain team as well, BlockRaiser, Alexander from Block Route, and Amrit from Altlayer, and also Jesse from Bloxroute. So yeah, please, each of you give a quick intro about yourself, maybe starting with Kay, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Saba. Okay, from the BNB Chain dev team. I will go through today I'm going to go through the roadmap of the 2025 and also introduce the latest discussions within the BNB Chain ecosystem. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here and share more insights, what we are doing right now together with our ecosystem partners. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction. Happy that you had time to join. So excited to hear about your guide about the new proposal. So over to BlockRaiser. Please give an intro as well.
Okay, sure. I'm Leo from BlockRaiser, and I'm so glad to be invited to join this meeting for share my idea about BP 520 and 524. Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Glad to have you here. Whoever wants to go next, feel free to unmute and also give an intro.
Yeah, I can go next. So hi, my name is Amrit. I handle operations at Altlayer. In this specific context, with BNB Chain, we are a RaaS service, so we help people launch rollups. And this is very interesting for us because we have quite a few clients that we work with that use BNB as a settlement layer. In some cases, use OP BNB as their stack. So yeah, this is definitely important for us, and glad to be here to share my views and thoughts.
Amazing. Thanks, Amrit. Great to have you here. Over to Alexander or Jesse.
Yeah, I will be next. So Alexander from Bloxroute. I represent the BSC builder team from technical part. So I appreciate to be here and would like to share my feedback about the BEPs that we'd like to discuss today.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then just briefly, my name's Jesse. On the product side at Bloxroute, also working with the BSC builder team.
Cool. Glad to have everyone here. So let's start the background about the BEPs. So Kay, could you please give a quick overview about BEP-20 and sorry, 520 and 524, and then we can discuss the related topics about that, or questions from the guests or also from the audience. So yeah, could you please give an overview?
Yeah, I'm gonna just share my screen. Just give me a sec.
Yes, I see it. I just added it to the.
Yeah, you can see that screen, right?
Yeah.
So actually, the BEP-520 and BEP-524 is aligned with our BNB Chain roadmap, which targets in 2025 to improve the user and trader experiences from the infra perspective. The target is very straightforward. If you go to our website and also our forum, you will see that our target is to actually the BNB chain ecosystem relies on the BNB chain evolution proposals. We call it BEPs. It is a method for contributors to propose and implement changes and improvements to the network. So this 2BEP actually focus on the short block interval phase in 2 phases. In phase 1, actually, we want to reduce the block time from currently 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds. And in phase 2, reduce it to 0.75 seconds. So yeah, why we have this 2 phases, that means that we want to a more sequential and deliberate way to optimize the network performance. And the phase implementation allows us for a more careful and more confident testing and stabilization each stage before we further reducing the block intervals and to minimize the potential disruptions to the network operation. So the benefit is very outstanding or straightforward, is that we can bring foremost among this is that I think the significant faster confirmation times for transactions. This reduction in, especially for waiting time, can enhance the overall user experiences, particularly for applications requires high or quick transaction finalities, such as decentralized exchanges or kind of the pay-fi systems. A shorter block time also contribute to improve the network responsiveness and lower latency. So making the interactions between users and the decentralized applications feel more fluid and immediate. So we want to involve the different partners, like the DApps, to have more frequent on-chain activities, like the the blockchain games and the real-time applications, to to benefit the enhanced performance due to the faster transaction finality. This can lead to a more seamless and more streamlined or engaging user experiences with this kind of the changes. So to make it more straightforward, it aligns with our roadmap, and it comes with our 2 hard forks. The first one is Lorentz hard fork. It targets in later April in 2025. We are still open to accept a new BEP. So please, if you have any kind of requirements or kind of proposals, you can create a BEP and reach out to the BNB Chain community to be included into the coming hard fork. The phase 2 will be aligned with the Maxwell hard fork, which targets later in June 2025. Yeah, just to give you the high level around why we have this, and of course we can discuss the impacts and also potential possibilities or potential problems. If you feel that you have any concerns, we can have an open discussion. I hope it makes sense, Saba.
Yes, made perfect sense. Thank you so much for guiding us through it. So any concerns or thoughts from anyone in the from the speakers' side? However, if the audience has any ideas, feel free to drop it as well, or any questions. I just wanted to also mention that we will be giving away also $250 for some of the listeners who are asking questions, and also retweet one of the promotional tweets. So feel free to also share your feedback about the proposal. So yeah, anyone from the speakers have any ideas that you'd like to share? Feel free to unmute and go ahead.
Sorry, I got distracted for a little bit, so I'm sorry if I missed this. But I think it'd be good for people like us and other people who are in the not necessarily on the BNB chain directly, but outside of this, to get a sense of the impact that they may have. So for example, as a RAS provider who's using, let's say, OP BNB, what sort of impact they can expect. I think it'd be good to I mean, we know, but I think it'd be good for the audience and others who are involved in the ecosystem to get a sense of the impact that we'll have with these upgrades.
Yeah, 100% agree. Kay, could you please mention some of the effects that the upgrades would have on OP-BNB's side?
Yeah, of course. Actually, of course, the OP-BNB is the layer 2 on top of the BSC. Because we are reducing the block intervals on the BSC, that means the all layer 2s will have shorter intervals compared with the BSC. So reduce their basically, actually, the BNB Chain dev team are working on the OP-BNB as the core, because we are committed to establishing the OP-BNB as the primary and optimize the technology stack for optimistic rollup layer 2 on BSC. So the block time of the OP-BNB will be reduced to 0.5 seconds, half seconds. So this will ensure the consistency and leverage the advancements made within the OP-BNB. So I would suggest that I think from now on, I think it would be better to use the OP-BNB as a tech stack when you create new layer 2s, if you are choosing the optimistic rollup. And the BNB Chain will provide a more comprehensive support for new layer 2s based on OP-BNB stack. At the same time, we will also provide the technical support for existing layer 2s to migrate to the OP-BNB stack, including sort of development of necessary tools and documentation. So to make it simple, OP-BNB team will work actively to optimize the performance of the tech stack to ensure it can efficiently handle the increased transaction throughput, resulting in the reduced block time, and also provide the technical support and the support channels to the layer 2 rollup as service providers like the Outlayer. I know Outlayer is maintaining more than 3 or 4, if I recall correctly, layer 2 on the BSC. So that could be a tech stack for you to implement it.
Awesome. Thank you so
I hope
much.
that it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make perfect sense. Just one more question. I think I saw it from the community side. I'll put it here on the screen too. So are there any security enhancements included in these? And what will be the actions required from BNB holders and validators to go ahead with this?
Yeah, I'm trying to answer this question. The short answer is yes. Because of the shorter block time, that means the network of the BNB nodes will be enhanced, especially from the security perspective. So right now, I think the community is discussing a proposal for BNB Chain validators to have a dedicated network to exchange votes information, votes messagings, and blocks information with a dedicated network to make the whole network communication more efficient to support the shorter block time interval. At the same time, this kind of the dedicated network will introduce the authentication method to only accept the validators to enhance the security of the whole network. So, of course, this solution is still in discussion in the community. It does not have a conclusion yet. So we are open to hear what your thought is, how to make the whole BNB Chain network more stable, and we'll also update it to the community. So I would say no action required from the BNB holders. It only works with the validators, operators, to enhance the network efficiency, to guarantee after the block interval time is reduced, the network stability will not be impacted.
Makes sense. Thank you so much for answering this one. There's one more community question that I've seen, if I'm able to find it here. Yes. So I think you kind of answered this one previously, but I'll raise it again in case this person missed it. So how will it impact overall BNB chain? Can these proposals really boost the transaction speeds to sub-second levels as promised?
Yeah, of course. This is the target. And
Yeah.
I would say not only the BNB chain team, the whole BNB chain ecosystem are working towards that direction, including the validator and those operators and also the builders. For example, the block raiser and the BNB chain are working closely to enhance the user experiences, to improve the builders' performance, and as well as the stability of the whole network. So from a user perspective, you will see this kind of the performance improvement after the BEP is implemented. And however, at the same time, even before the BEP is in place, the infra building of the BNB chain ecosystem, we are working closely with our partners. Like today, I think the block raiser and also the blocks root are here. They are the builder operators. So yearly, we work together to enhance the the security and also the performance of the infrastructure to meet the requirements of a higher block frequency and the lower latency.
Amazing. Thank you so much for answering this question. We will have time for community questions later on as well at the more to the end. But yeah, let us discuss it at this within this call as well, like what the general thoughts are or any issues that any of our speakers may have in mind about the proposals. Feel free to jump in.
If I may ask one more question again.
Sure.
This time not necessarily as a RAS provider, but imagine third-party services providers like indexers and other parties are involved in the BNB ecosystem and also on the OP-BNB side of things as well. Given that the reduced latency will also mean that kind of blocks are created at a faster rate. What sort of measures they should take to keep up with this latency reduction? Or do they have to take any extra step?
Yeah, Kay, feel free to jump in.
Yep, of course. Especially for the corresponding infra providers, you just mentioned the indexers. Yeah, it requires more performant indexer implementation to make sure the data can sync up with the higher speed of the BNB chain. Basically, recently we shared this kind of the proposals within the ecosystem and also received some feedbacks from not only indexers but also from wallets and also from CX exchanges that all the infra on the chain actually needs to be updated accordingly. So that's basically the reason why we want to have this kind of the open discussion within our industry, within our ecosystem, to make sure there's no surprise for any kind of infra operators, to make sure they're aware of this change. And I want to say is that BNB chain is not the first chain that reduced the block time to sub-seconds. So I would say it should not be a big challenge for the node operators or other infrastructure providers to catch up the blocks. So it just requires more time to catch up and more discussions to make sure the compatibility and also align our expectation.
I think I have one more question, if you don't mind. Again, it's for me, but I also hope it helps some of the participants here, but also beyond who are watching and listening. Of course, again, from a RAS perspective and the stack perspective, OP and BNB is somewhat inspired by, let's say, optimism. And one thing that I've seen is a discussion that I've seen, in the last year or so was that as latency becomes shorter and becomes faster and lower in the sense that blocks get produced faster and faster, there'd be scenarios where there would be chains, like especially let's say BNB style chains, that basically would be producing empty blocks. Even though it's empty, there's still some metadata that comes with it, and so it actually introduces cost in some way. Of course, all this gets settled down to BNB chain, so the cost is not that much. But they still have to consider the fact that now these blocks have to be indexed, these blocks have to be shown on an explorer, and so on. And I guess one difference that I've seen in Optimism case as with respect to, let's say, Arbitrum, is that in Arbitrum, the blocks are actually generated, they don't have a block time per se. So the blocks don't get generated unless there's a transaction. So the question that I had was, are there any plans in the future, as latency becomes shorter and smaller, are there any plans to kind of move to a on-demand block generation where blocks get generated as and when there are transactions?
I think that's a really good question. Yeah, we had some discussions about the on-demand block instead of the fixed timed block. It is still ongoing. I cannot say that we definitely will go that direction, but we observe that, for example, Arbitrum is a good example. It, in theory, if there is a transaction, then there will be an Arbitrum block to be generated, and the block time can as low as at 250 milliseconds on Arbitrum, if I recall correctly. So that means in the low traffic time, the latency on Arbitrum is very good, and I would say that could be an enhancement to the user experiences even further. But of course, we can also consider that direction and to share the ideas and also other considerations. For example, the change to be implemented on the OPBNB stack or BSC stack, and then we can decide whether after we can make a more informed decision. But I would, BNB Chain are always open to this kind of the proposal. I'm right.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Amazing. Any other questions or ideas from anyone else on the panel?
I'm interested in the process, how the validators will lower the block gas limit before the hard fork. Do you envision any process? Do you have it in mind already?
Could you say the question again? If my understanding is correct, are you asking whether we want to reduce the block gas limit?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw that you plan like depends on each of the stage, right? So it will be less.
Yes. Yes.
But how do you envision this process? Because outside the consensus, so it has to be an agreement between the validators. How do you enforce it, and when it will happen before the hard fork?
I think, let me explain this way. We will not change the block limit before the hard fork. So that means the block limit will be reduced at the same time when the hard fork is enabled on the BSC. The reason why we want to do this way is that we are prioritizing the faster transaction confirmation, aiming for sub-second confirmation times to significantly enhance and the trader experiences, which like the other high performance blockchains like Solana, Sway, or even Web2 trading platform. So that means reduce the block gas limit will does not improve the throughput, or you can say the TPS. That is true, but we will maintain the current the throughput, which is around 2,000 TPS for transfer transactions. It's kind of the trade-off where we are accepting a degree of the reduced or maintained open decentralization and throughput in favor of the faster finality. So this decision is driven by our commitment mentioned in the roadmap of 2025 we published earlier this year to improve trading experiences and also combat the malicious MEV activity. The shorter block time can make the malicious attacks much harder. So this is the why we make such a proposal to the BNB Chain community. However, we believe that it is still important. The underlying network throughput is very critical. So that doesn't mean that we will not increase the block limit again, but we want to focus on the block time right now. And after that, we are still open to increase the block gas limit again to evaluate after everything settled down. And furthermore, I just mentioned at the beginning of this call is that we are working on the dedicated validator network we call the VDN to enhance the network efficiency. So after that has been implemented to ensure the network security, decentralization, and also the efficiency, we can reopen this conversation again to increase the throughput.
And regarding the VDN, do you plan to allow builders, or say, to have an access to it, or it's purely for validators?
It is purely for validators right now. It is the proposal. It's not concluded yet, and we are still open discussion to the community to make a more informed decision for the community. And right now, the current design is to enhance the security and the efficiency of validators network.
Okay, a few other questions from me. So I saw also in the proposal that there is a plan to increase the number of consecutive blocks, right? So proportional, so the overall block time for particular validator remains the same. So can you expand a bit more? What is the rationality behind this? Why didn't you decide just to keep it as 4 right now? Why we need to keep it longer? Any drawbacks?
Yeah, so basically in phase 1, I think the block consecutive block production originally is 4. We are going to increase to 8 because we reduced the block time to 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds in phase 1, and the consecutive block number increased to 8, which means for each validator they still have the same time period or same time window to block to produce the block. So we want to keep it consistent to make sure the validators do not have to worry about too much about the performance of hardware, and also keep the logic consistent. Of course, we can open discuss whether we want to increase even further or we want to reduce. Right now, the configuration is based on our current testing results.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, by the way, I have a quick question about this. Do you have a concern about the consecutive block production? Do you have any kind of consideration? Just I just want to have a better understanding why you are interested in this configuration.
From builder perspective is important because not every builder is working with every validator, or let's say an opposite, not every validator is working with all the builders with the same conditions. And when some particular validator is taking the time to produce blocks, right? So he's actually can be unavailable from some of the parties, and you're wasting your time. Your users are not able to land with you. Like there is some drawbacks on the block producer performance. I mean, like builder performance. So from builder perspective, to be honest, it's better to have the validator rotation being more often than less. Even the 4 consecutive blocks looks to be a bit too much in some cases. And here, with reducing the block time, we increase the consecutive blocks number, so the total block sequence time remains the same, and the issue remains the same for the builder. It is not very critical, but that's actually an implication on the builder performance here.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, just to mention the block producing time window for the validators rotate is just the same as what is now. Of course, we can also consider whether we want to reduce it, but basically, another consideration during our discussion within the ecosystem is that some validators may fail to produce some blocks as scheduled due to for example, the maintenance, system failures, or other issues. So this can lead to some increased number of the low difficulty blocks, reducing the network stability. So that's the reason why we want to keep it consistent right now, to make sure the network stability. Of course, we can do more testing to see whether if we reduce the time window, what can happen, and after that we can have more information to be shared.
Okay, clear. Thanks.
I have a question about the validator slashing thing. Yeah, we see some validators just slash for like once per day. I don't think they will have good maintenance. So when the block time is getting down and down, so I think the slash will happen more often. So will there any mechanism for the slash penalty to increase, to force the validator to reduce the slash occurrence?
Thank you. That's a really good question. To be honest, we haven't talked this penalty mechanism to be changed yet. Of course, we can discuss this and to see whether we want to change that. But currently, the design is keep the penalty mechanism unchanged. Or we can do more testing on testnet to see whether there's a necessary to adjust the penalty mechanism after we enable the phase 1 changes on testnet, so that we can have more insight to see whether the penalty change is necessary.
Yeah, what I'm concerned is that slash will have great impact on anti-MV RPC, or we will, all the builders all the RPCs we are trying to do. By slash, your transaction will go to mempool. So that's a very dangerous situation. So I think the slash penalty system should be considered to avoid this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
By the way, you can also add comments in the BEP 520 or 524 to give us more data. For example, why this kind of the changes need to be considered, and so that we can, according to the data, because without any data we cannot see how this should be changed. So more testing data will be more necessary. If you have, of course, you can share with us, with the BNB Chain core dev team, and also with the BNB Chain ecosystem, so that we can have a more informed decision.
Okay, sure. We will do this. We will try to do this, and yeah, let's discuss in the BEP.
Yes, sounds lovely. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for the questions. Just one quick question from my end, Kay. So you mentioned malicious MEV attacks to be harder if the final decrease. So could you explain a bit more about this for those listeners of the community who are not tech savvy? What is malicious MEV, and how we exactly addressing the concerns about it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the BNB Chain has published several blogs to explain what the malicious activity, MEV attacks looks like. I can just give you a very simple example. Is that, for example, if you want to swap your tokens to another token on one DEX, for example, Uniswap or PancakeSwap, if there is a yearly, you send your transaction through the P2P network, so the transaction is open to everyone. Anybody can see the transaction on the network because the transaction go to the public mempool. You can think the public mempool as a transaction queue in public. So as an attacker, then they can monitor the transaction queue or transaction public data on the blockchain. So they can front run your transaction. For example, if you are selling your token, they can do a transaction before your transaction by providing high gas fee, a gas price to get their transaction pre-run. And then your price, the token price you get is worse because there's a slippage. So when you do the transaction, you can see your wallet, there's a slippage settings, right? So then after you swap your token, then the attacker can back run again to get more benefits to attack you. We call this kind of the pattern sandwich attacks, right? If we reduce the block time to sub-seconds, that means the transaction in the public transaction pool will be much more faster to be handled. So the searchers should be more sensitive to the public transactions to attack any transactions to go to the public transaction pool. So it will be very challenging if we reduce the block time to sub-seconds, which will enhance the security of your transactions so that you can get a better price to protect the traders' interests. So this is the very common scenario that happening on the blockchain. It's not specific to BNB chain, but for all the the public chain has the similar issue. So that's the one of the reasons why we want to reduce the block time to sub-seconds to enhance the security. But of course, the block time is not only method or only approach to protect users. We are also working closely with builders and validators to enhance the security. For example, recently we announced the Goodwill Aliens for builders. I think Blockroot and Blockraiser are all aware of this change, right? So that means the builder will also, filter the attack transactions to be included into their builder bundle to protect the user even further. Right now, BNB Chain has a Doom dashboard to monitor the savage attacks on the BNB Chain. Right now, I think the landscape has been improved a lot just 1 week ago. So I know a lot of discussions about the MEV attacks in the BNB Chain ecosystem, and we are working very hard and closely with our key partners within the ecosystem to make the landscape much better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the insights on this and for the explanation. In the meantime, I have a question from the community as well. I can quickly maybe share my screen so you can also see it. Yeah, so this question is how do BEP-520 and 520 forces shorter block intervals tie into our goal of having 100 million daily transactions, and what infrastructure upgrades are critical to hit that target, including for example, the parallel EVM? This
I would say, yeah, I would say the BEP-520 and 524 does not, just mentioned, does not increase the throughput of network. It is not our target right now. Yeah, of course, we are open to increase the throughput or capacity of network in later on this year. But right now, it is not the target of these two BEPs. But of course, just the again, the throughput is very important, but we will look after it later this year, not the 2 BEPs we are discussing today.
All right, thank you for addressing this one. In the meantime, if any other community members who are listening live have any other questions, feel free to drop it on Twitter or YouTube, and we will attend to it shortly. During that time, if any of the other speakers have any questions or feedback or ideas, feel free to also go ahead and share. No, if no questions or no extra ideas, then Kay, do you have any other FAQ or something that you like that you think that everyone should know about regarding these proposals?
Yeah. One more thing I want to highlight here is that because recently we are working with the partners to reduce the MEV activities or malicious activities on the BNB chain. But I want to just say our goal is not to eliminate all the MEV activities. Our goal is to eliminate the malicious MEV activities that harm traders' interests. So it is important to understand that MEV itself plays a vital role in the healthy blockchain ecosystem. For example, the activities like the arbitrage can help ensure the efficient price discovery and market equilibrium, keep the market stable across different exchanges. So we are committed to protecting, protecting responsible MEV activities to contribute overall health and efficiency of the BNB chain. So I just want to make it clear to the whole ecosystem our target. And the baseline is that we protect the users' interests and also keep the network and the market as stable as possible. So we will not remove all the MEV activities on the network. Another thing I want to highlight here is that of course, we are going to introducing the VDN, just like I mentioned earlier, the validator dedicated network. It is still ongoing discussion. It's not a open proposal yet. Of course, you can also create BEPs within our BEP framework, and all the BNB chain's validator selection mechanism remains open and permissionless, with all the proposal subject to the community governance, active involvement, and also staking responsibility. Sponsorship requirements are also open to discuss and adjustment through the community feedback and governance process. So we are open and committed to maintaining a transparent, community-driven approach to the validator operations and staking. So again, the BEP is the open mechanism for everyone to propose, and we are open to discuss any technical issues you encounter.
Thanks. Actually, on this, there's another community question, I think, on Twitter. So just a general question about major upgrades expected in 2025, and how can community members contribute to the future proposals? And then another question, which is a bit unrelated, but I think let's address the first one first. So this would be on the, please correct me, Kay, if I'm wrong, but on the forum, I think everyone can add comments and
yes.
It's already, and also, as you said, raise the own proposals as well directly. And please go ahead after, like, it's pass. So after they can also contribute on Tally and Snapshot to vote. First on Snapshot and then on Tally, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. And the second question is there a roadmap for further layer 2 solutions on BNB chain?
Yeah, the outstanding improvement on the layer 2 is that OP-BNB stack will reduce the block time from to 500 milliseconds to make it compatible with the BSC block time interval reduction. Of course, the other layer 2s are still open to the BNB chain, and Outlayer is one of our key partners to maintain and operate layer 2s. So any requirements we can discuss and also introduce to the BNB chain. At the same time, we can also contribute your ideas or solutions within our BNB chain forum, so that we can include into our upcoming hub fork and also include our roadmap. That is possible.
Awesome. Thanks so much. There's one more community question that I would like to share. I think this person must have joined recently because they talked about these parts before, but just as a quick summary for the session, could you please answer this question as well? So how the updates will impact the transaction cost and also speed on BSC, and what benefits will have compared to other ecosystems?
Yeah, I think the benefits is very straightforward. Is that the shorter block time has a better confirmation time, and yeah, one more thing I want to mention here is that the faster finality mechanism also works after we reduce the block time. So for example, if the wallets or CEX confirm the transaction using the faster finality, the transaction can be confirmed within 4 seconds. So that will be a big benefit that can bring to the users. So when you do a deposit to the CEX, you can see your assets within 4 seconds, which is much quicker than other layer 2 like the Ethereum. Yeah, MEV reduction is another thing we can bring to the users.
Amazing. Thank you so much for addressing this one. All right. I think we had quite many good community questions, so thanks for raising those. We will select also the winner for that after this session, so keep an eye out of the original tweet where we announced it, and we will be also tagging the winners there. So awesome. Are there any other topics or questions that any of the speakers would like to ask or comment about the proposal here on the panel? Okay, if no other comments or questions, then I think it's time to have time for the final words. So from my side, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and we will be back with our next community call as well, similarly to this one at the next proposals too. And we will have an AMA later tomorrow on Twitter, where you will be also be able to ask your questions directly on the stage. So do join that one. It should be at 4 a.m. UTC on Saturday morning. So yeah, looking forward to speak to everyone there. Kay, or anyone else, any other final words that you'd like to share with our community today?
I may go. It's more of a shield rather than anything else. So thank you again for inviting us, and we are grateful for the collaboration that we have with the BNB chain on building some of the components that OP-BNB folks or the stack builders need. So again, to the community, if you are building in the BNB ecosystem, especially using OP-BNB, come and talk to us. We'd love to help you out.
Amazing. Thanks, Amrit. Thanks for joining. All right. If no other final comments, then I think we will conclude our session for today. So thank you again, everyone, for joining, and see you later tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.